Here. I don't know what's going on with. Oh, hold on, everybody. Okay, we live, anyways. All right. All right. Good evening, everybody. As y'all do know, I am Dr. Comark. This is the first one-on-one, the conversation with Dr. Comark. This is the Anti Network with the host, Dr. Comark. As you know, the producer is in the background, Professor X. Just in case we have any technical difficulties, he'll be back here. If we wind up falling off, stay tuned. We'll be back. I have a special guest here. Do you want to introduce yourself? You want me to introduce you?
Go ahead.
Oh, so we have from Ball 94, we have the one and only, the Coach Jones, the man of the free agents, here to discuss what we talked about just in a little bit, a little small bit, what he think men need to be more accountable for what we do. And let's just say it's a question that I may want to ask or maybe be answered. Are we the problem, or is society and men, are we the problem? So he's here to discuss, and I'm here to discuss one on one how that is or how it isn't, and how he got to this conclusion. So my first question was you. I don't know. Would you want me to call you Mr. Jones,
Don't.
Rakim?
I'm not that old, bro.
You are young. You are pretty young. So first of all, how did you come upon this? Um, let's say question, or this how would you say, hindering question for yourself, or say this thing
It's still
upon you
well.
today?
I don't. You said I came to a conclusion. I haven't come to a conclusion.
Well, this
You
thing
know
you
what I'm
want to say
saying?
that
It's
we
still
need to be accountable for,
huh?
or this. I mean, this thought in your head that we need to be more accountable, or that
Yeah,
maybe
for
that men
sure.
are.
Yeah, for sure. Like I feel like men, we hold a lot of responsibility to what's going on in this world. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta hold each other accountable for the things that we do. You know, um, I came to this. It ain't something like overnight or anything like that. You know, but it is a part of growth. It's a part of holding yourself accountable to the things you do as well as a man, and not just a black man. Just man in general. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, let me ask you, man, what you think about that?
So so I think you are right in a couple of aspects. We do need to help hold each other accountable and ourselves accountable, but I don't believe that we are the problem. I think there's a lot of things that goes into holding ourselves accountable when it comes down to being men, and that goes far away from us growing up as little kids and us growing older each day, because you got to think as nature versus nurture. How do we grow up? Did we grow up in a single parent household? Did we grow up in a two-parent household? Did we grow up in a foster home? Did we grow up bouncing from house to house, or did we grow up with our grandmothers? And that plays a big part in the things that we do here in society, or even in our own everyday life. So when it says, "Are we accountable?" There's a lot of factors that go into that. Are we talking about in our children's life? Are we talking about in our marriages? Are we talking about um, in our friends' lives? Are we talking about in our family lives? Like, there's a lot of things that we can go about saying being accountable, because that's the question I want, wanted you to answer because there's a lot of things that can go into saying we as men need to be accountable for because we can account for a lot of things, but us holding each other accountable, are we just holding ourselves accountable, but are we holding our partners accountable too? Because as men, we don't get the recognition today that we should. Maybe back that other men's and other generations back a long time ago did. Because you got to understand, as generations keep going over and over, life changes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like today's generation, like I'm what 16 years older than you, something like that.
man, I'm 30. So what are you?
Oh yeah, I was 10 years older than you. So I'm 10 years older than you, something like that. So I grew up in a two-parent household. My mom and my dad grew up in a two-parent household. And so when it came down to it, I wanted to be in a two-parent household. It didn't work out that way, but now it is. I've been married for 9 years, going on 10 years, and been together with my wife almost 16 years. So me looking at that generation, they always had that structure of, you know, even if we fall out or argue, they're going to stay together. Nowadays, people fall out because of minor, simple things. So that's the difference, and we don't do that today. So, and my question to you is, how did you grow up, and what was your structure, and what did that make you feel about how do you feel about being accountable, and what is your perspective of what accountability is? Is that being with your kid? Is that your family? Is that man to man, or
All of that applies. All of that applies. Um, what I want to ask you, well, it's like what situation do men don't have the upper hand or don't have the advantage?
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Well,
Don't have
I'm
the
just asking. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. I'm not. I'm truly asking. In what situation do men not have the upper hand? And let's talk about that.
So right now, if you say like in structural wise, you got to think.
Is if it's hard for you to think of something, then that's kind of what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? If it's something kind of difficult for you to think about, like, and we kind of had the advantage in everything. Well, who is gonna hold us accountable for the things that go on so we don't take advantage of the others? You know what I'm saying?
No, see, it's the way you're wording it that makes
Okay, it
me.
could be wrong.
It's the way, because I don't want to answer it and offend women, right? And that's my thing because I hold women probably at a higher standard than I do probably a lot of men. I don't want to offend women in that way, right? So when you say having an advantage, right? I don't think men have a lot of advantage right now because if you think of the structure right now, women they have higher education than men, right? Women right now, if you look at it, are actually being paid a lot more than men are. And I want to say African American men right now, we might still hold the financial um difference right now, just by a little bit right now, based off the 2023 payroll, whatever you want to call it. I forget what it's called. Start with a C, whatever it
We talking
is.
about black men.
But yeah, black men. I mean, black and white. To be very honest, black and white. The only people who hold a higher standard is the Asian people, like the Indians, the Asian. I don't want to get them out of the race, but I'm talking about Japanese. All those people hold a higher standard than anybody else because they're leading the pack. Yeah, everybody, we're like 7, 8 below anybody because we don't want to get the education that we need to to be the standard or to even try to make the standard. And if you see African American men, we don't want to do. We always want to say that we want to hustle. We want to do something better. We want to do something different. We want to be athletes. But what happens when we don't become athletes? Are we getting the education that we need? Are we getting the degrees that we need? Are we out there getting masters and bachelor's degree? I mean, PhDs or anything like that to broaden our minds? Are we in the books? Or is there, like you said, is there a father figure in our life, or is there a mother figure in our life who's saying, go get your education? Or are we still pushing the standard of just getting, let's go play football, let's go play basketball? And that's and when you say accountability, that's the accountability that I'm talking about. But there is females out there right now hold a higher standard right now than anybody, because they're out there leading the households by 20% more than men are right now. And if you want to say that we not have been held accountable, that's it. But if you look at it, that's the second highest divorce rate right now in America, because women are divorcing their husbands because of the fact that they're making more money, and they're arguing about it because we don't want to get off our ass and say how, or the communication isn't there because we don't want to say, I want to sit down and be a stay-at-home dad, or like you said when our conversation before, we don't want to get two jobs and say, let me work two jobs because it's taken away from our fatherly duties per se. So that's another conversation. If we're not being held accountable as men, or if men are the problem in society, we're not doing enough as fathers, as men, is the problem laid on our generational from our younger men. Because if we're out here working two jobs, right,
Mhm.
trying to hold our households down, and then now we're not spending enough time with our kids, is that a problem?
Yeah.
Why do you think
So,
that's a problem?
cause I mean, like, what's the point of being around if what's the point of putting the roof over your head if you're not around? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, like, some kids, the financial plays a part in all that too, but they don't care about that, bro. They really don't care. They cool with the simplest things and you being there. You know what I'm saying? And when they get older, they will. I know I myself, I value that a whole lot more than the things that I was bought or the things that I was given. You know what I'm saying? I value the time. I value the effort. I value the encouragement. I value the talks. You know what I'm saying? Those things. So if you're not around, then you're kind of a detriment. You're not if you're not around, you're kind of a detriment to what's going on. Cause some other man will swoop in and do what he's supposed to be doing, do what you're supposed to be doing anyway.
So, so is that is
And that, a part of that is holding yourself accountable and putting yourself in a position where you should be around with your kids and you can provide for your family. It's possible, man. It's a lot going on right now to where that's very possible. And if you do need to sit down and be at home, stay at home dad, sit down, bro. Figure something out. Get an education, go to school. You know what I'm saying? It's other things to be doing than trying to hold some standard of what a real man is.
okay. So let me go back to what you were saying about somebody coming in and swooping in and doing what you're not supposed to be doing.
It'll happen.
So if you were out with two jobs, right, trying to take care of your household,
Yeah, your wife gonna get lonely, bro.
and and, and that's what I'm saying. If that's the problem, right,
The
because that's the
kids
number,
and
because
the kids want that attention too.
right, but because that's the number one problem with households, right? 70% of women cheat and have a man on the side, right? And that's infidelity. That's the number one divorce rate right now in America, right? Cheat. But if your man is out there doing what he's supposed to be doing, trying to make a household, right? How is
Yeah,
that?
I'm not validating.
I
I'm not.
understand you're not validating, right? But I'm
No,
trying to get to the question, right? But and he's not spending time with the kids because he's trying to provide the necessary means for his family to stand alive and put food on the table and things of that nature. Who's held accountable? Who's held accountable for him? Is it him himself or is
Yeah,
it his?
yeah, he has to hold himself accountable as well. But his friends, his quote unquote homeboys, if his father's still alive and he got a good head on his shoulders, hey, talk to your son. You know what I'm saying? Wisdom don't just stop when you get out the house. I mean, when you in the house, I've learned more from my father than than when I was in the house. You know what I'm saying? I learned more outside of the house. You know what I'm saying? So it don't just stop there. And holding your homeboys accountable to the things they say behind closed door, barbershop talk. You know how that goes. You know what I'm saying? Having the courage to be like, hey yo, that ain't right. You can't keep saying that, bro. That ain't right. You know what I'm saying? It's the same.
Okay.
It's the same way we may feel about white people when they call us the N word behind closed doors, but won't say it in our face. We kind of lose respect. It's like, go ahead, do it in my face if you're gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't do it behind closed. You kind of coward if you're gonna do it behind closed doors, and you ain't gonna. And in my face, you smiling, and behind my back, you doing everything to put me at a disadvantage. It's not right.
Okay. So
It's that same feeling
your dad was military, right?
for sure.
So how many? So how long before you realized that your dad was going back and forth, and how lonely were you with your dad being gone before you realized that this isn't right for you?
He was around. He was around for most of the time. He was around. I would say he probably only missed about 4 or 5, maybe 4 or 5 years total of my life. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? But the other during that time, he was coming back and forth. I probably saw him maybe 2 or 3 times out of the year in that span. But talk to him on the phone, things like that. I remember getting in trouble and him cussing me out over the phone. You know, still being a dad
But you have a respect. You have respect for your dad, right?
for sure.
Okay. So let me put this out because we had a conversation about this, and this is where I stopped and said, well, maybe we need to have a further conversation about this. My dad worked 2 jobs, right? And
Mine did too.
and was gone. I didn't probably see my dad until probably Sunday, and we watched football games and basketball games together. My dad didn't come to none of my football games or none of my track meets. And growing up, I probably felt the worst about my dad than anything because I was like, I grew up really fast, taking care of my brother because my brother had a brain tumor and um, I'm not gonna say my brother was slow, but probably was disabled, something like that. And so the thing about it growing up, and I felt like my dad should have been there with me. But as I got older, and my first time my dad ever told me he was proud of me was in the military, my first tour in Iraq. I didn't think about it then, but thinking about it a little bit after my first deployment, even though my dad wasn't there and then, come to none of my games, I had the most respect for my dad because of the fact that my dad taught me how to be a family man. My dad, we never wanted for nothing. We never needed for anything. My mom never wanted for nothing. My mom never needed anything. I always had a roof over my head. And my dad, and I want to say this with the greatest respect for my dad and any father out there who's doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's accountability. My dad was accountable for it because even though he wasn't there to do all those things, my dad showed me how to be a man. He showed me how to put 10 toes down and even in the rough times to, I want to say, grind because there was times when I realized that my dad was switching from one job to the next and was doing what he's supposed to have did. And I don't understand, even in these days, why the 50,000 people say, "Oh, you need to be happy." Excuse me, I don't say people. females would say you need 50,000, you need $100,000 to date a man, right? If a man is out there trying to do what he's supposed to be doing, you know, to make ends meet, whether you living from check to check and you got a roof over your head, that's accountability. My dad held himself accountable to his kids and himself because there was always food on the table and there was always clothes on somebody's back. And no disrespect to you or disrespect to anybody who think that's not somebody being accountable. Sometimes you hold yourself accountable. And I want you to understand that, from this my perspective. This is the anti network. So we all have opinion. You have your opinion. That's what the plus and minus stand for. So I want you to understand that too. That's accountability in mine. So your perspective and my perspective is different.
A little
So,
off, a little different.
a little different. Yeah.
It's not to say that your father wasn't accountable. That's not at all. But my father was in the military and worked another job at night and was making all my basketball games. He actually coached me up until I was middle school, making all my basketball games, making all my football games, coaching both teams, coaching my sister teams, making her soccer games, making her gymnastics. He did all this and showed me how to cut the grass and do all the stuff that that fathers do while working in the military and working at the casino at night. You know what I'm saying? My mom, she was working between the bank and she was working at night for the railroad station. And sometimes she would do both. So I'm like, is men like him that don't sleep, that I don't know how he did it. I can't explain to you how he did it, but he was always there and he was always able to provide. And I always knew he had 2 jobs. And I always knew he was tired. And I always knew we had something. Even if it was a little bit, we had something. So, you know what I'm saying? Even not saying because your father wasn't there, nah, he's accountable. But it's more than just that of holding yourself accountable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I still want to understand that. Like, what studies are you taking, or what class brought you to
Man, bro.
ask this question?
It's not even a class I wanted to take. It's the class that you got to take in order to get to the next level.
Right.
It's a family diversity, culture, and
cultural awareness.
Bro, it's got a long name, kid. I gotta, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
to
you
get
gotta
the whole
get to the next one. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those. It was cool. I'm like, it's over with now. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my last paper for it right now. But you know what I'm saying? It kind of opened me up a little bit. It kind of exposed me to a little bit more. It was more than what I was looking for, and I was cool with that. You know what I'm saying? And it also got me, asking you questions, Dr. Comar.
Yeah, I got it. Cause a lot of the things that I know you was like asking, and I was like, wait, where is this coming from? Because you ain't never asked me no questions like that. Usually it's like, about the businesses and stuff like that. And
I'm gonna fly on the wall till you ask me a question.
so my next question is basically about, like, what do you know about politics? I know you said that
Nothing.
one time you said that we you
you don't know nothing. I don't know nothing.
How you know?
We're not in them rooms.
That don't mean I don't know nothing, though.
You right.
I research.
Well, yeah, you know something. We all know something. We all know the truth.
What's the truth? No, I know the lies. I don't know the truth.
There we go. My bad. We all know the lie.
Yeah.
But
what's the lie?
Politics ain't something I'm into, bro. It's not something that I want to follow. It's something I feel like, we're gonna continuously get lied to. You're gonna have to do your own research. It ain't gonna be so easy as Googling. It ain't gonna be so easy as looking up on YouTube. It ain't gonna be so easy as turning on the news. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to put feet on the ground and do your research for real. You're probably gonna have to go to your library and look up these real facts. It's it's something that I don't pay attention to politics. I
That's
think I
fair.
voted for Obama though. I think that
That-
was the first time. I think that was the first time I voted.
you
2008,
probably,
right?
yeah, yeah. You
No,
was
no, no,
probably
no, 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 no. I
yeah, you
voted
right.
his second term. His second term.
Okay,
Yeah. Oh wait, I was in the ninth grade.
yeah, okay. So yeah, you. I was like, you probably was too young then, but yeah, that makes
I had
sense.
my shirt though. I had on my Yeezy shirt with the Yeezy glasses, and he had a Obama. Yeah, I was
All
a
right,
big supporter.
that makes sense. So accountability, right? Back to the accountability part, and men's being accountable, right? So
Mhm.
so there's billions of dollars going out to the wars and stuff like that, and how we fight overseas. Since your dad was military, he know a lot about it. If you
Right.
know what's going on in you know politics and government and things of that nature. If you said that a lot of men's hold financial stability and we doing a lot with finances and things of that nature, and we hold the power. We have more than females do. I want to know that the 60% of men are homeless, right? Do you understand that? Did you know that?
60% of men are homeless.
Yeah, 60% of the homeless men are homeless or men,
Yeah, I could see that.
and 20% of them are kids. So if 60% of the men are homeless and the men have power to do something, how do we change that? If we have the power and you say we need to be held accountable, in
Well,
your eyes, how do we do that?
it's definitely not the woman with the kid that's homeless. She don't got the power.
Why do you why do you say that? Why do you say it like
What's
that?
the other 20%?
What's the other 20%?
The
Female.
other 20% is the women.
Right.
And a lot of the times when these couples split, the women take the children.
Hmm.
It's That's just customary. So it's only natural to think that their 20% is with them 20 of the kids. It's not, you don't see a lot of homeless men with children, bro. You like that's a pedophile or something. You don't see that. You don't
Yeah.
see that. You see a lot of homeless men by themselves. You see a lot of homeless women with a dog, something to companion them, but not really the men. They got a stick, they got a cart, they got a big dog, they got another homeless buddy, you know.
So you said the other 20%. So the other 20% are probably, if you think about it, are single moms, and the other 5% is maybe single dads, which is
Maybe,
probably statistics, right?
maybe.
The
I don't know.
United
I don't
States.
know, but
But
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
from what
It
I
is
see,
statistics though, right? It is basically the statistics, right? That 20% of them are single moms and the other 5% are single dads. If
right,
you look at the statistics of the way the United States is.
right.
If we're holding people accountable and most of them are men and the men are in power and we hold the financial stability in
Hmm.
the government, what do you think we should do as men to get the homeless off the street? If we hold the power and we holding everybody accountable, I mean, this is your mindset. This is what you think. What should we do? If we're holding everybody, because you got to think about it. Before a
Sometimes you
man
got
goes
nothing that you
homeless,
can do. You got to remember, it's people have free will. Some people want to be homeless, bro. Some people don't know no better.
do we have free will?
People don't want no better.
Do we have free will? That's the next. Do we have free will?
I got enough free will to go get this Sonic drink.
What made you go get their son?
My sugar was running low.
There you go. That's not free will.
What you mean?
That's not free will. Something in your body told you that you needed to get some insulin or something in your body told you needed a drink. You had
My
thirst.
bad. I'm working in God's will.
There, okay, that makes more sense than free will,
Yeah.
right? But anyway, right? A lot of you saying so. A lot of people want to be homeless, right?
No, I'm not saying a lot.
But
I'm
you
not.
saying
It
some of
there
them want to
are.
be
I'm
homeless.
saying what I'm saying is there are people out there that need to help themselves before anybody else can help them.
So if we still need to be accountable for, right? We're gonna be accountable for ourselves.
How are we gonna be accountable for you if you're not accountable for yourself? It starts with you first.
Okay. That's one of the good questions that I want to talk to you about. You saying we need to be accountable, right? So as men, we need to be accountable, right? If it
Right.
starts with accountability, we need to be accountable for ourselves,
Hmm.
right? First. So how do we account for anybody else who don't want to be accountable for themselves? When you said we need to be better men, if we're the problem, right? How can we account for ourselves? So there's a lot
Well,
of men here who are good,
right,
but a lot of bad things happen to them.
right. But you could help. You can encourage your friends. Like I said, when we back there throwing dominoes or we playing the game or whatever, and you say something crazy like out the side of your neck, and it's not geared towards me, so I'm not offended. But I know if maybe somebody else was in here, they'll probably be offended. I still had the courage to say, "Hey, that's not right to say." That helps. That goes a long way. Cause at least you a friend enough to say, "Dog, you wrong," but I'm still here with you. It's like it's not like I'm just walk off on you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I get that. That's that's definitely a way. So if that friend still doesn't want to take that advice, where do you go next?
Well, you can't make them like you just all right. So if it's if it's a grown man, like what you gonna do with a grown man that want to do what he want to do? Is either you rock with him or you don't rock with him. Like if you feel like that's enough to make you feel uncomfortable, or the people around you gonna feel uncomfortable if he's around and they know this about him, then maybe you need to distance yourself from that so you don't become attached to it.
Right.
Because it's a sickness, man. Like what people say, what misery loves company.
Parasite.
You know, you want to stay rooted to everything that's righteous, and if it ain't righteous, you need to move around. Now, sometimes you can be patient with it. People change. Things happen. You know, you probably don't know what that person went through to view it like that. Maybe they haven't expressed that to you yet. Maybe when they do express it, you could help them and be like, "Oh man, it ain't even like that. This, that, and the third." And they be like, "Oh," and then they switch. It's different, you know. Um, but at the same time, that person still has to be accountable for themselves first. You got to want to change first, and you got to see it. You know
The
what I'm
man,
saying?
the man in the mirror method. So you pull a man aside, you try to help him with his accountability and accountability over and over and over again. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to step away from that person. I always say you love someone, you hug someone because you don't never know what's going on with that person. You never know what's happening inside their mind. You never know what's going on with them day by day. You slip a man in the car, you slip a man some water or whatever. You pull him to the side. You say, "Hey, this is what I'm noticing. This is what's going on. This is what's happening with you. This is what I'm noticing." You keep inviting them out until you no longer feel that they aren't listening. I never want to say give up on somebody. I never say that. You send them memes of happiness, suns of ray shines, sunshine, or whatever the case may be, so that they feel that they're still wanted, still needed. You s- you say it's always about accountability within that yourself or them. They gotta help themselves first. But if we're accountable for somebody else, that person could be your kid. That person could be somebody else. If if we are if we're the problem, if men are the problems, if men are the problems, and we have a person in our circle, if we can't fix them, then are we still a problem?
They may bring you down. Yes, you are the problem because they may bring you down. I'm like, how many times you done got in trouble with your homeboys but never got in trouble by yourself?
I've got in trouble when I was a little kid a lot with my
I,
homeboys.
I don't get it. I don't get in trouble by myself. I
Okay.
don't at all. I don't get in trouble by myself at all. But I've always seen it again. Every time I'm in trouble, it's somebody else attached to it. You know what I'm saying? So I learned that at a real young age, and then stop learning that lesson until I started getting on my own 2 feet. And so I started holding myself accountable. So I stopped trying to follow my friends. You know what I'm saying? That'll take you down trying to follow your friends and doing what they doing. You don't view the same thing. You don't view the same way they doing, but you still hanging around. You're not saying nothing about it. Maybe you scared to say something because they're gonna be like, "Ah, you gay or you different or you this, you that." If it's righteous, it's righteous. If it ain't, it ain't. But like how you said, you don't have to throw them away. That ain't what I'm saying at all. You just gotta be patient with them, you gotta love yourself enough to be like, all right, I given this enough time.
These are facts. These are facts. I like that. I like that. So we talked about that part. We talked about the friends. What about your son? Accountability within yourself. How do you instill that within your I'm gonna say your son.
My
I'm gonna
son
say
personally,
I'm gonna say well I was gonna say yeah your son personally, but you actually have a significant other, right? Who have children,
I had 3 sons.
right? Exactly.
So when
So
you say one son, I know
how,
exactly what you mean, but I got 3.
yeah, exactly. So how do you instill that in your children?
It's different. It's different with all. It's different because the one son you speak of, I gotta go out my way to make things happen. I gotta go out my way to make sure I'm there. Uh, for the other 2, it's easy. Just be present, bro. Be present. Be cordial. Be kind. Be loving. Have fun. I get to be the fun dad, so that's cool with me. I get to play games. I get to talk crap. I get to teach them basketball, teach them sports in general. You know what I'm saying? Teach them games, talk about girls. I get to have fun with these dudes. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to be a disciplinary. But when it comes to the other one, I kind of got to be that a little bit more because uh, I'm not able to spend that much time with him as much as I do the other 2. So I gotta make sure he's on point. The other 2, I know what's going on. They right here, but the other one, I gotta make sure he's on point. I gotta go out my way and communicate more. I gotta go out my way and teach him more lessons. Make sure that he's ready for what's going to happen when I'm not around, or if I'm not around.
Do you
You know
feel
what I'm
differently about that? Do you feel different
saying?
between the two? Do you feel different between the two that's there and then the one is not?
No, I love him.
No, no, I'm saying like not relationship wise.
What you
I'm
mean?
talking about the accountability. Do you feel different about the way your accountability is with yourself in between the two? Am I explaining that right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like I understand, like you there all the time, right? With the two
Right,
that's there in the household,
for
right?
sure.
You said you have to go out your way for the one that's not there, which I'm
Right,
understanding that is with your baby mama, right?
right.
So you have to go out your way, and you have to love on him differently, right? Because he's
Yeah,
not
just a
there,
little bit. It ain't too far off, but I have to. It's almost like I got to be a little bit more careful.
right?
You know what I'm saying? Because I can't be too hard, but I can't be too easy. You know what I'm saying? And then I got the other dynamic with the other 2, making sure that they don't see the unfairness. If you know, in that situation, it's it's not the easiest thing.
Right. So are you trying to teach them the same things that you're learning right now in school about the accountability that you're saying, or even the things that we're talking about right now? Are you teaching them the same thing?
Yeah, but that hasn't like uh I've always been on that tip as far as self-awareness, self-accountability, uh doing things the right way, where you come from, who you are. You know what I'm saying? uh I've always been that type of person with them. You know, I've always kind of preached those things. So that hasn't changed much. But as far as how I present myself to them, I try to employ them to be better than me. Don't be like me, be better. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to be your role model. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to live my life. I'm trying to do what I do. I'm trying to have fun with what I know how to do. Trying to make money, provide for everybody. I know how to do it. So, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, man, I can't be perfect for everybody. So I
Right.
employ them to be better. See what I'm doing, find your way, be better at it.
Yeah. Well,
You
Bob
know,
Marley said that. Well, he said every woman is not perfect because the moon isn't perfect. It has dimples, and the ocean has whatever. That's another story.
but yeah, I put that on them. I put that on them. Whatever they're doing, they gotta be great. At least you gotta try. They ain't no giving up. You know what I'm saying? So
So is that accountability?
yeah,
So is
yeah. How you write your name on the top of that paper, that matters.
right.
You know
Facts.
what I'm saying? How we gonna know if you wrote the word if you wrote the word how we gonna know if you wrote the word right if your spelling is horrible? I mean if your handwriting is terrible. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So how do you make them accountable for the things that in your house besides writing the words, like chore wise or around you, around your significant other? Because I don't want to put a name out there, but
Just
significant.
having a just having a good balance of fun and work, having a good balance of learning, you know what I'm saying, and the fun stuff that come with it. Just trying to find that. Sometimes that one is a little bit on a different level than the other one. You gotta give him something different. This one gotta give him something different. Or them two could get the same. That one gotta get something different. You know, finding it
Right. So these are young men, right?
for sure.
And you're raising young men to be men. And there's so many things out here that you're worrying about and you're thinking about the facts of like the problems that we're dealing with in the world, such as systemic racism and the things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, we're talking about accountability and the problems that's going on with us. What have you done or taught them to look out for or watch for at their ages right now to make them accountable for their actions toward women, the racism that's going on, and the things that they should look out for as they grow older? You as a man, and even to face the problems, as you said, we are, or not saying that you said we are the problem, but we can fix the problems, and we need to be accountable for the things that's happening. What
Right
have
now, right now it's pretty gentle.
hmm
You know, it's not in their face blatant. You know what I'm saying? But if something or if I find myself in a situation, they right there, and they seen it too, I'm not gonna not say nothing. You know, when we get in that car, it's not like I'm not gonna explain what just happened, or it's not like I didn't explain, yo, we can't be playing with these Nerf guns outside, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all won't do that. Y'all could do it in the backyard, but not in the front. You know, having those talks. Why we can't do it? Well, sit down. Let me tell you why. Look at this video. Let me show you why. This why. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing I think of is just don't die. That's the first thing. Just don't die. Stay alive. If you can do that, you live another day, you got another chance. So don't give up. Keep going.
hmm
That's rule number one. Don't die.
What's rule number two? How many rules do you have? You don't know. You just made up.
That's
I got you. I got it. I understand. I understand. All right. And what's the age range from the oldest to the youngest?
7 to 12.
7 to 12. Still got time.
So the oldest one, it's a little bit more aggressive. It's a little bit more. You really need to know, bro. You
Yeah.
really need to know. So the little ones, give it to you a little bit. Give it to you a little bit. That you still kids, you still having fun, you still think it's a fairy tale out here. You know, look both ways when you're crossing that street, though. Stay alive.
Right. Keep your head on the swivel.
Right.
All right, man. We got everything, your accountabilities, your kids, your your game face, what you think about life, and I don't want to go into the whole double standards between um, the single moms and stuff like that. I think that's a whole different story with accountability. I think we kind of went over that a little bit. Um, you said you had some questions for me. You might have if you wanted to ask. Still got them questions, or you think you good?
Nah, man, you know those questions just don't. I just don't have a list of questions like that.
Yeah, you just gotta throw them out there
Yeah, I
sometimes.
just throw them out there. So maybe next week when we on this again, more questions probably be thrown out. You never know.
Yeah. So, all right. So, in conclusions, why you think men are the problem?
Man, why you keep saying that?
Because you said it. I can say the thing. I just didn't want to play it or put it in here because I didn't want to just put it out there, man. Because that was the first thing you said when we first talked. You said you think men.
Yes, 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 yes.
You said
We
it.
we have a problem. We part of the problem. If you not helping, if you're not being productive, if you're not looking towards progression, you are part of the problem. Not every man is the problem.
There you
It's
go.
it's
That's
it's some,
what I
it's
want
some
you.
man. That's what you wanted me to say. You could have got that out of me when 2 seconds in, bro.
We didn't get there. I wanted you to explain
Not
it.
all men are the problem.
There
Just
you
like
go.
not all women are the victim.
Yeah.
Just like not all
Wait,
women,
hold on,
not
hold
all
on.
children are angels. All children not angels, bro. Like some
You heard it on the
some
internet.
kids are out there and
Not
they're
all.
more mature than others.
Always preach. Not all. On the
Not
internet.
all.
Not all. Just some. Y'all
Oh,
heard it.
it's different. Everybody's different.
Here you go. So,
But you know the trend. You know the trend though.
and we're not talking about all black. We're not talking about all white, Caucasian. We're not talking about the Indians, the Asians, the Palestinians. No. We're talking about in general. Not all, just some. Some of y'all are the problem. Not all. There are good men out there. There are some of y'all that are poor.
It's some of y'all tripping.
So like he said, Mr. Coach
Some of y'all are
Jones.
tripping.
He said, "Y'all, some of y'all are tripping. Some of y'all are the problem. Some of y'all aren't. Some of y'all are out there great." Again, this is the conversation one-on-one with Dr. Comar. Some of y'all are the problem, not all. Mr. Coach Jones, Ball 94. Go look them up. Schedule y'all sessions. Go look up the free agents. They balling. Make sure you go buy Soul Ties, the book. Make sure you follow the Anti Network. Hey, new book is coming soon. Mr. Professor X out here, the producer back here on the ones and the twos, got a new book coming out too. You know, ideated by your boy, the one and only Dr. Comort. Follow us, and we out.